ladies and gentlemen, he's here. We dragged him in by his lug hole through the door and we've plonked him in the corner just there. It's the wonderful Peter Barnes.
Hi, Alex. How's it going?
Very well,
very well. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Well, sort of
person to person anyway, yeah.
I'm surprised you dare to sit with me in this
slightly
studio.
Terrified. That's why there's a desk between us.
Yeah, I know. Well, before there was just a sort of remote camera between us because we were just discussing in the break how there's this clip that's been going viral where I've lost my rag presenting.
Yeah.
Was it sometime this week?
Yeah, it was Monday.
Was it Monday? It all blends into one with me. But I'd lost my rag about this Labour MP had gone over to... Was he a Labour or one of the pro-Gaza ones? One of the Gaza ones. He wants the airport in Kashmir.
Yeah, Mohammed Iqbal.
Yeah, just for Pakistan to blow up, frankly, because that's all that will happen if there's an airport in Kashmir. It would just become like a bomb site. But he wants an airport there so his constituents can easily get to, you know, see their rallies or whatever. And then he was doing some sort of conversation, some event in Pakistan where he said the grooming gangs were all just far-right conspiracy theory. And I lost my rag in a big way at this and sort of let loose on air. But the thing is, at the time, it was a split screen and you on the other side, and it looked like I was dressing you down.
Yeah, literally, so many people have sent it to me saying, like, why is she calling you a demon? I was like, it's not me. There is an entire context to this conversation because what was really funny is you lost your rag and then I just kind of lost my rag as well because it was just one of those cathartic moments of just let it all out and then, oh yeah, we're on TV.
We went Easter mad, didn't we?
We really did, but I think it was very well justified. It was some of the things that we were talking about and then just this stream of gaslighting that we had to call out. It was just, if we don't say it now, then our heads are going to explode with it. Yeah.
I loved it when we had our Saturdays together.
Me too. It was so much fun. It was chaos, but it was
It was basically like setting up a pop-up asylum in the studio and just going a bit mad. Like someone sent me a present.
Ooh.
I know, every now and then there's a sort of area at the back of the newsroom there where there's a stash of envelopes and stuff. And every now and then I get stuff. I got a T-shirt the other day. So Jodie's just come in and given me this and it's like, here you go. Was it Jodie or was it...
Fraser.
Fraser. Sorry, love. I wasn't really looking. I was looking at... Blimey, this has been mummified.
Oh, I love that, Ray.
I want to get into it.
It's either been mummified, it's been wrapped well, or it's been wrapped by a mother.
Here we go. It's a book. Oh, the T-shirt didn't come with a letter. This one's got a letter. Here we go. Please accept this complimentary copy of my book, Losing Your Country. Oh, I'm losing my country, man. The book has a QR code that will take you to the accompanying website. That's from Berwyn Williams. Berwyn, thanks. Hey, that's a cool look. Remotely illustrated with over 50 informative videos. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's a bit like in Carter or something. Yeah, it's like, surprised it doesn't have like a disc on the inside leaf here. But when I said remotely illustrated, I was looking at the illustration on the front, which is a spectacle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that looks good.
There you go. So here you are. If you want to send me presents, so they are very well received. This will go on my bookshelf thanks to Berwyn Williams. Berwyn, mate, I just want to point something out though, love. On your letter you sent me, you're Berwyn with a Y. On your book, you're Berwyn with an I. So someone's done a typo, just FYI. That's lovely, a nice hardback one as well.
Yeah, I always buy hardback books.
Proper stuff. Berwyn, thank you ever so much. No, in all honesty, I really do love it when I get little gifts.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? I think that's really lovely. Right, now... Talking about little gifts, apparently, if Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, he's going to gift the nation a Minister for Deportations. What do you make of it?
Does it come with a receipt so we can give it back? Because this is the best U-turn I've ever seen in my entire life. Talk about screeching. You can hear this one right round the country. Let's not forget that not too long ago, Nigel Farage got up in front of a crowd and said that it was not politically viable for deportations. And now, suddenly, we're getting a minister for it? What has been the material difference between then and now? I'll tell you what it is. It's because elections are around the corner and Nigel Farage wants to tell you something because he wants to be in the headlines again. This is absolutely staggering to me because there is already a minister in charge of deportations. Her name is Angela Eagles. And that's again, she already exists.
She's more worried about the trans thing, old Ange,
yeah, but she's the Minister for State in charge of border security. No. This falls in her remit. This position already exists.
Yeah, but she ain't in the
So that's fine. You can say that she's not doing the job well enough. But what Nigel's got up in front of a camera and announced something that already exists. If he wants to change it, fine. That's not what he's announced today. This is a screeching U-turn yet again by Reform because there is no substance and no plan and nothing. This is absolutely staggering to me that he's got up and done this, because it is just foolish, in my opinion. Do not get me wrong. I think he's right in principle that we need to really kickstart this, because the real question to ask is, how does this country only have 24 rights of returns with other countries? We've only got 24.
24? And how many? 178?
170 odd.
We don't know. We're just 100
over 150.
Almost 200.
But yet we only have 24. And none of them are actually guaranteed. It's all to do with diplomatic relations. So that's the real question to ask. And also, in this announcement, he goes on to kind of downplay people who stay on student visas. Well, I hate to break it to you, that is the significant increase that we need to actually tackle, more than the small boats, because the people overstaying is the bigger problem than actually the small boats is.
And doing their Mickey Mouse courses, their, fake news universities.
We haven't actually recorded people who have overstayed on these visas since 2020. We don't keep the number.
What?
Exactly.
So you can come to Britain and be like, I'm going to study pet-poor mathematics at the University of Gra. And then doesn't exist. You come over here, you're doing Lord knows what, then you probably claim asylum or something.
Yeah. And yet we do not count the number of people that overstay. The last time we did, it accounted to about 91,000 people, and that was in 2020. 2019 to 2020. And this is the point, is that it is not just the small boats that we have to tackle. This is a whole issue.
We always stop counting things when we really ought. You know, it gets to the point where, well, this is really dark now. Yeah, so when the figures have disappeared, you know that they're bad.
Exactly.
But look, I've got to defend Nigel. I've got to defend Nigel, because look, I know the man well. I've been his right-hand woman in a previous life. Not in that way, not his wife or something, but you know, he's a strategist, advisor, a media human bag carrier, basically, for want of a better phrase. And I think he's come under a lot of unfair criticism for this, because what he had actually said in a nuanced way is he does want to see deportations, but he was actually sort of pushing back on some of the things that other people were trying to, I think, cajole him into saying, or other people might have been saying, which is going as far as deporting, you know, almost entire families. You know, someone who's committed a crime and or the family and this and that and he was basically saying, well, look, it's just not practicable. I do think that he's always been very clear about wanting to deport people who are here illegally, because I've known that man his whole life. That's his politics. So I just wanted to sort of balance it with that. But I do think, I do agree that there is something. What has happened is he's come under a lot of fire with people going, bring back Nigel Farage. Where have you gone, lad? You've gone a bit soft. You've gone a bit funny.
This is a big criticism. You hear a lot from the right at the moment. Yeah.
Right, but he's heard it, right? Because he's clearly doing what people are telling him that he needs to do, which is get his mojo back, lead from the front, be the vanguard, be the first to say it, put his head above the parapet and have the courage that has gotten him this far.
I don't disagree with that, but what I will say, again, to be the anti-Nigel Farage guy in the room, is that that's fine, but when does a person stop becoming illegal and then start being, well, we can't deport them? I need some kind of parameters.
Where's the clarity?
Yeah, where's the clarity? The one thing that Reform have yet to provide is what comes after you've blown everything up. It's really easy to run around Westminster and say, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, that's gone, boom, gone, everything's amazing. What comes after? I'm more interested in people that want to build, not people that want to destroy. And all I'm seeing from people like Nigel and people like Lee Anderson and all these people, even Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe, to a degree.
Ben's gone mad, though.
He always has been. He always has been, and yet nobody's ever noticed it.
Oh, he'll probably sue me for that now.
You've got to start telling me what comes next. What is the next chapter? What does it look like? Give me a vision. Because the only thing Reform are building is a coalition of, I don't like that.
Well, you say that,
but they're not going to get anywhere, realistically. And I can't wait for them to get into government for that to become apparent.
While people were attacking Nigel for not talking enough about immigration, he had taken a bit of a break to talk about his policies for reindustrialisation. So, you know, mind you, look, what I'd say about this, and I'd use the same defence right now for the Conservatives as I would for Reform, which is we are 4 years out from a general election. We don't need to start publishing our manifestos yet. We do need to know where we stand politically and have a point of view. I think that's fine. And actually looking at the sort of remodelling of, you know, the Tories 2.0, where they had the audacity, the Shadow Energy Minister, who said to Ed Miliband, you need to heed our warnings about net zero. This is good. And I'm like, you guys invented that stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah, they rebranded the entire energy department Net Zero.
Department of Net
Zero. Rebranded the department.
Was Sir Net Zero? It's like, don't want Net Zero. We've been always saying Net Zero's bad. It's like, no, you didn't.
You literally wrote it on the side of a building.
You had a massive conference in Scotland for it, you absolute loony tune. Like, yeah, exactly. It was a letterhead.
Yeah, it's a letterhead. What is a letterhead? It's a thing. But I agree with you that, we are definitely, we've missed the window for Starmer to go anywhere now. So we've got to start preparing for the general election in the future. But my thing is, Reform are making a lot of noise, but they're not backing it up.
Well, they're going to have to, though, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're going to have to. And the longer they leave it, I think the more this kind of, well, what are you going to do, Nigel? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's got to start pulling him in lots of different directions, because the coalition that Reform is building is built on, I don't like that, not I'm in favour of this.
Although
that's
I do
a very dangerous place for a movement.
I feel like I've got to come out and do a word of support, which was before the snap election, which was under a year ago, basically. There wasn't really such a thing as Reform. I mean, it existed, right? It had a name, it had a logo, it had a leader and a deputy leader, but that was it. That was it. And then since the snap election was called and Nigel came back, it's having to build very quickly from the bottom up. And I think it has now got a policy unit. I think I've even heard talk that it's having a sort of associated think tank to sort of do all the research and start writing up policy. So that is sort of a proper growing up of a Farage entity, because UKIP didn't have a think tank. Brexit Party didn't have a think tank. So I think he is approaching this in I've got my eyes on number 10 and I'm now in the big league and I've got to do things properly. But you're right, the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
If you're going to run around saying you're going to be the next Prime Minister, I'd rather like to know what you're going to do. And I think the level of expectation management coming out of Reform at the moment is non-existent. You've got people talking about the great shake-up, the great demise of this and all the rest of it. You've got to start controlling that, because if you don't, your messaging is going to be all over the place. And then when you get to the general election, you start promising very little. People are going to be going, well, wait a minute, you said you were going to do this. Where's the policy for it?
Well, also, I think the bigger concern is if you've promised all this stuff, you find yourself in number 10, then you get a load of civil servants going, well, you can't do it because of this. Well, you can't do that because of this. Well, actually, because of this treaty. Well, the High Court's going to overturn that. The Supreme Court's going to overturn that. The ECHR will overturn that. You don't have enough numbers to get through a vote to leave the ECHR. And you end up tied up in the same sort of virulent knotweed as all your predecessors. And that is one of the big problems with the sort of Gordian knot of bureaucracy and nonsense that is this country.
But he's got 4 years now to plan that out.
Got to get planning.
Got to get planning.
Making plans for Nigel.
Yeah, I know. But for anybody who is in government, you've got 4 years now. Get your act together. Get your plans in place and get them costed for.
We had the reverse problem with Labour. We didn't hear a peep out of what they wanted to do, did we?
No, nobody wanted to ask.
We didn't know about GB Energy or the cloud seeding and the 22 billion black hole that became 49 billion. We didn't know about the taxing the farmers and turning their fields into solar farms.
And that's because we never asked the most important question, is how are you going to do this stuff? We keep saying, well, what are you going to do for me? That's wonderful. But the most important question is how. Like you said, our bureaucracy is expansive and very powerful. So how are you going to get over it? How are you going to start challenging that? How are you going to bring that down? We've got to start asking better questions and demanding better answers. And that's the only way our politics is ever going to change. Because we sit here day after day, week after week, saying the same thing, that this is going to stop you, that's going to stop you. Well, how are we going to get over that hurdle?
Oh, I love playing the game when I'm lying in bed at night. So here's the thing, I don't know, this is my little asleep tip for listeners, okay? Because everyone struggles with sleep, right? Well, actually, there are some holes out there who don't.
Oh,
Their
I don't
head
trust
hits
those
the pillow.
people.
Yeah, there's something wrong with them. They must be sociopathic if they're not tossing and turning and scratching and itching and too hot and turning the pillow over and waking up at 2 in the morning and thinking, oh, well, I'll go downstairs and make a cup of tea because I'm never going to sleep until about 6 anyway, when it's the Today programme that makes me nod back off.
Oh, God,
but anyway, here's my sleep tip for listeners, right? When I can't sleep, and clearly, after sort of explaining my 2 a.m. cup of tea, it doesn't work, but never mind. When I can't sleep, I lie in bed and I set myself an alphabet challenge, right? Which is my A to Z of something. And it could be A to Z of European cities. It could be A to Z of cheese. I have done that, and it is almost possible.
Oh.
It is almost possible.
That's good.
I did an A to Z of industries the other day, actually with my other half, because he also couldn't sleep, and he kept saying things like, that's not an industry.
Yeah,
technically, that's a sector. So, you know, we did A to Z of things you'd find in a laboratory. That was really fun, because you're getting out, you know, because I brought that one up because you never get anything for X. So I thought that, you know, X-ray. Finally, I could sort of, you know, get an X for once.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think tonight what I'm going to do is the A to Z of things in the UK that I'm going to scrap.
Yeah. Well, how many times do we play the Doge game whenever we're together?
Doge, I know, gone. God, this is just a new version. It's just the A to Z of gone. Oh, Pete, I love having you back in the studio.